to the channel. I'm back to break down this 14-game MLB DFS slate on DraftKings and FanDuel. The MLB season winding down here. Only about 3 more days to go here in the regular season. So excited to get into this breakdown, try to win some more money in the games that we do have left here, get you guys in the green. That's always the goal on this channel, and I'll be here all through the postseason as well, breaking down these slates. Don't forget to stay tuned to the end of the video for my home run call of the day. And if you are interested in some NFL DFS content, I have released my final picks video on the channel as well. You also go ahead and take a look at my first look and my NFL DFS premium package that I do offer, along with my MLB DFS package. That's linked below in the description. You get access to all the same tools that I use in building my own DFS lineups. And with that being said, let's go start breaking down the slate, get you guys in the green, winning you some money. And as always, I like to do that by sorting my sheet by K rate. Fantasy sports, we get points for strikeouts, and the top guy on slate today is going to be Clayton Kershaw taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. He comes in with a 29.9% K overall, a 16.7 swinging strike rate, 30.5% K rate to righties, and a 28.2% K rate to lefties. Very good across the board, and taking on a Milwaukee squad tonight that we don't fear all too much. The only issue is going to be whether they're really going to stretch Kershaw out, with the fact of the matter that they already have the playoffs locked up here. Looking at Kershaw's last performance, he was able to go out there for about 73 pitches, 74 pitches the time before. And I'm not feeling all too confident about them working up his workload here. I mean, you look at the standings, the Dodgers already are 14 games up in the wild card race. They're clearly in the playoffs. And for that reason, I tend to think they're probably going to keep him right around the 70 pitches or so that he's already been at. So Kershaw has a decent play, but for the pitch count restrictions reasons, I do think that there's other places we can go here. Second on the list, we have Lance Lynn taking on the Detroit Tigers. He's in a great matchup here with a 27.6% K overall, 12% swinging strike rate, 28.9% K rate to righties, and a 26.3% K rate to lefties. And as mentioned, taking on the Detroit Tigers, it doesn't get much better than that. They've been striking out a bunch all season long. We know their lineup's really not good. They only have a 3.28 implied run total. And Lance Lynn is a 275 favorite. He comes in at 10K on FanDuel over on DraftKings. They've got him priced at 9.5, and looking at his recent performances, he continues to be pretty dialed in out there. Last time throwing 105 pitches, 6 strikeouts, up to 6 earned runs last time, but if you look at his 2 performances before that, 1 earned run, 0 earned runs, and both 9Ks and 5Ks. I think he can get it going here, and it's really going to be the matchup that's the selling point for me. Detroit Tigers, really not worried about them whatsoever. As far as the Chicago White Sox and their hunt for the playoffs, they already are clinched, so just keep that in mind. Maybe he's not going to go quite as deep into this game, but I tend to think they're going to want to keep him sharp too, and nothing wrong with a good game to get his confidence up going forward. Nestor Cortez taking on the Tampa Bay Rays, and the Yankees in this Rays AL East wild card race for the Yanks. It's going to be an important game for them. He has a 27.5% K rate overall, a 21.7% K rate to righties, and a 29.1% K rate to lefties. Has been very good on the season. He is currently priced at, on FanDuel, 7.9. He's a 132 favorite. And on DraftKings, they've got him priced at 8.9. So on FanDuel specifically, you can definitely take that price tag discount and run with it. Not exactly the most friendly matchup in the world. I mean, the Rays are a very talented lineup up and down. But if I were to pick whether I wanted to have a lefty facing this lineup or a righty, I would definitely go with the left-handed hurler. And I think he's going to have a bit of an advantage in that aspect. And like I said, on FanDuel specifically, I think his price tag is very friendly, and he has had very good stuff. So definitely an option over there on FanDuel that I'm liking. Eduardo Rodriguez taking on the Washington Nationals, and the Red Sox chase for the AL wildcard. A 27.4% K overall, 25.7% K rate to righties, and a 34.1% K rate to lefties. And I do think that he gets a pretty good matchup here to rack up some Ks taking on this Washington Nationals team that is not even close to as talented as it was at the beginning of the season here. He's a 196 favorite. He's 8.2 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they've got him priced at 8.5. And if you look at his recent performances, he had 8 strikeouts against the Yankees last time's out, 5 strikeouts before, 6 strikeouts before, and he's able to keep his opponents to 2 or less earned runs the last 3 times out. So Eduardo Rodriguez is definitely going to be someone that I'm interested on this slate today. We have Shane McClanahan taking on the New York Yankees with a 14.9 swinging strike rate. That's second on the slate, only to Clayton Kershaw. 27.3% K overall with a 26.9% K rate to righties and a 29.3% K rate to lefties, and taking on a Yankee squad that has been red hot, so it's a little bit scary here, but they do have their fair share of strikeouts. if the pitcher's on. McClanahan could definitely have a big game here at 9.6 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they've got him priced at 9.7. Really, the only concern here would be that they've been capping him out right around mid-80s pitches. And, of course, the Yankees are very hot. But other than that, McClanahan's numbers have been great. He's definitely got the upside. It's just, do I really want to go to a pitcher where his pitch count is somewhat limited on a slate like this? I don't really think so. And then the options as far as where we're going to kind of start to drop off a little bit here. I mean, it's going to become pretty matchup dependent very quickly. There's a lot of teams rolling out not so good pitching at the end of the season. They're not in the playoffs anymore. They really don't care. We do have Joe Musgrove taking on the San Francisco Giants with a 27.3% K overall, 28.1% K rate to righties, and a 26.5% K rate to lefties. That's very good. The problem is the Giants lineup is very good as well. And it's not exactly the friendliest matchup in the world, but if Musgrove does get the start, I definitely would be having interest in him due to the fact that it's in San Francisco. It's one of the best pitching environments in baseball. Pulling up the diagram here as far as San Francisco is concerned in Oracle Park, you can see a lot of red going on out there in the outfield for those home runs, and that's always, of course, good. And the hitting weather is not good either. It's only 64 degrees out there in San Francisco. So he would make a lot of sense to me if he gets the start. We do have Huascar Ynoa taking on the New York Mets as well, who does have a bunch of upside with a 26.9% K rate to righties and a 26.8% K rate to lefties. Mets have already locked up. I'm sorry, not the Mets. The Braves already locked up a playoff spot here, so that's another question of how deep he's going to go. He's 7.6 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they've got him priced at 8.6, so another guy that's at a friendlier price on FanDuel. He's been right around mid-80s pitches, 6 Ks, last time about 700 runs. The time before that, 2 Ks. Time before that, 8 and 7, so that's kind of more of what we're looking for here, taking on this Mets squad tonight. I think he's a viable play for sure. And then we have Ranger Suarez taking on the Miami Marlins, who, once again, are just a very friendly matchup. They've been striking out a bunch. Ranger Suarez's ground ball, fly ball rates are tremendous. He only has a 1.45 ERA. That's very impressive with a 25.1% K rate, 22.8% K rate to righties, and a 31.4% K rate to lefties. So when you factor in the matchup and the ballpark and all the above, it's going to be in Miami, best pitching park in baseball, arguably here. And I'll always show you guys to back up my point. In Miami Marlins Park, a lot of red going on. Also, the way the stadium is, the ball just really doesn't fly in the dome all too great. You know, they got the air conditioning bumping in there a lot of times. Not going to get the elevated flight out of those baseballs that you see in some of these other ballparks when the weather gets warm. And I'm definitely going to have interest in targeting this Miami Marlins squad. Looking at Ranger Suarez at 9K on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they've got him priced at 8.8. He's been right around 100 pitches his last 4 performances, and he's been great. 8, 5, 7 strikeouts, and 6 strikeouts, all at 2 earned runs or less. Last time taking on this Miami squad, he was able to rack up 7 strikeouts through 5 innings pitched, and he only threw about 71 pitches. He's seen his pitch count climb up a lot since then, so I think he's a great option in this week matchup. And then we have Steven Matz taking on the Baltimore Orioles. I think he's going to be a pretty interesting option as well, being that the Toronto Blue Jays really need to win some games here in order to have any sort of a chance at the wild card game. They have a 6.69 implied total. He's expected to get plenty of run support. It's 335 line in favor of them. And he's 8K on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, as far as Steven Matz is concerned, they've got him priced at, let's see here, 8.7. So it's really going to be the matchup. He hasn't really been the greatest. 6Ks, 5Ks over his last 2 performances with 2 earned runs in each of those, which isn't terrible. Last time against Baltimore, the same squad, he had 6 strikeouts, 5 earned runs on 103 pitches. I do think this Baltimore Orioles lineup, if they do roll out a good one, could get to him. But at this point in the season, they have nothing to play for. The lineup's surely going to be watered down, and the Blue Jays have plenty to play for. So I'd expect that this game is won pretty easily by these Toronto Blue Jays. And that's what I'd be looking to. Marco Gonzalez taking on the LA Angels, another guy that really needs a win here in the Seattle Mariners squad and the playoff race. So he's actually going to be, I think, a great option tonight. And, you know, it's going to come down to, in this AL wildcard, the Seattle Mariners, the Boston Red Sox, and the Toronto Blue Jays. So these three teams that I'm really talking about to fill in that spot, as well as the New York Yankees. So, you know, we talked about Cortez, we talked about Eduardo Rodriguez, we talked about Steven Matz, and now we're going to talk about Marco Gonzalez, who's in arguably the best matchup of them all, as far as I'm concerned, as far as this Angels lineup strikeout rate over the latter half of the season. It's been absolutely terrible. Marco Gonzalez comes in at 8.1 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they've got him priced at 8.4. And over his last few performances, he has been pretty sharp. I mean, he's been at 3 earned runs or less over 4 starts, and he's had 3, 7, 3, and 5 strikeouts And as mentioned, I think if there was ever a matchup where a strikeout rate could really be boosted, this would be the one. So I definitely do have interest in Marco Gonzalez. And with that being said, let's go ahead and transition over to backs. As always, I like to go ahead and sort my sheet by Sierra, skill and interactive ERA from worst to best, figure out the top pitchers that we want to target on this slate today. And the one that we want to target at the top is definitely going to be Thomas Eshelman, expected to take on this Toronto Blue Jays squad. And he's absolutely terrible. He's been in and out of the league for a couple years now. He always comes up and does a terrible job. He gives up a 600 slugging to righties, a 421 slugging to lefties. The Toronto Blue Jays are by far going to be the best stack on this slate when you're factoring in him and the Baltimore Orioles bullpen. It's really not even close, in my opinion. And the Vegas lines reflect that. They have almost a 7 implied total. That's ridiculous. Springer, Semien, Guerrero, Bichette, Hernandez, Gurriel, Dickerson, Espinola, Jansen. I would definitely make this Toronto Blue Jays lineup a high priority for me in tournaments tonight. Like them. Drew Anderson taking on Cleveland has been pretty bad, but against righties and lefties, the slugging hasn't been all that bad. It's really been a walk issue and a ground ball fly ball issue, and he just doesn't really strike anyone out to the ball that's been put in play. Cleveland lineup really isn't the greatest, is the problem. They do have a 4.7 implied total. It's in Texas, which is a great hitting environment. I should mention also that in Toronto, that game's being played in Toronto. But Texas, as far as that's concerned, in the hitting environment and all that fun stuff, love targeting Globe Life Field, green across the boards, great ballpark for home runs, great ballpark for pretty much everything when it comes to hitting. And the Indians definitely could be a viable stack here. Miles Straw, Amer Rosario, Jose Ramirez, Franmil Reyes, Bobby Bradley, Harold Ramirez. Don't hate it whatsoever. They're on the road. They get the guaranteed at bat in the 9th inning. John Gant taking on the Kansas City Royals. He's been pretty good across the board, honestly, and the Royals aren't exactly the top lineup in the world, so I'm not getting too excited to target them outside of the fact that we know the Twins' bullpen is terrible, and outside of the fact that we can target a one-off in Salvador Perez, who has been red hot, hitting bombs all the time, so I like him. Josh Rogers taking on the Boston Red Sox. He's been terrible across the board, bad ground ball, fly ball stuff with a 533 slugging to lefties. He has been much more effective, to righties. Has been much more effective against left-handed hitting, so keep that in mind. But Boston expected to put up some runs here. They do have a 5.55 implied total, and like I said, I'm really interested in targeting the righties with the slugging that he's been giving up. Enrique Hernandez, Hunter Renfroe, Xander Bogaerts, JD Martinez, Bobby Dahlbeck. I have interest in all of them. Jose Iglesias and Christian Vasquez for salary relief options. Not the best hitting weather here in Washington, but we do know it's a great hitting ballpark for hitting overall. Pulling up the diagram for Nationals Park, especially down that left field line to those righties that are going to be pulling the ball, does play very friendly to them. So I do have interest in this Red Sox stack for sure tonight. Humberto Castellanos taking on the Colorado Rockies. He gives up a 411 slugging to righties, a 500 slugging to lefties. Has been less than impressive all season long. And then when you're factoring in that this game is going to be played in Arizona, it's a great hitting environment. So if you want to go to the Rockies on the road, I don't hate it. I don't love it either, but the Diamondbacks bullpen is really bad. So if this was ever a spot to target this Rockies lineup, I mean, this would be it. Ramil Tapia, Brendan Rodgers, Charlie Blackmon, Trevor Story, CJ Cron, Ryan McMahon, Elias Diaz, Sam Hilliard. I really don't hate it, especially when you're factoring that their bullpen's that bad. And let's be honest, looking at the standings and everything, as far as where the Arizona Diamondbacks fare, they don't really have much to play for, coming in at a 1,509 win-loss record. So I'm sure they're not going to be really going to the best pitchers that they have. They don't really care, just kind of going with the punches. And that could lead to some fireworks for that Colorado Rockies. Offense, the Chicago White Sox taking on Willie Peralta. He's given up a 449 slugging to righties. He has been much more effective to lefties. If I'm going to this White Sox stack, I'm going to really try to target their right-handed power, and they do have plenty of it. And then you factor in the Detroit bullpen's very bad. Tim Anderson, Luis Robert, Jose Abreu, Yasmani Grandal, Eloy Jimenez, Yohan Moncada, Lurie Garcia, Gavin Sheets. Love the whole lineup. I think Tim Anderson is expected to serve a suspension, so just keep an eye on that. But I still love the lineup. It's a great lineup that these White Sox are able to employ now that they're a fully healthy team. John Heasley taking on Minnesota. We have a limited sample size over 9 innings pitched, but he has been very bad against lefties, so I'm targeting the Minnesota team. I can go to those left-handed bats that they have in their lineup and feel pretty good about it. That's my approach there. Marco Gonzalez, we talked about playing him. If we're not going to play him, we're going to play the right-handed power against him. He can give up some ground ball, fly ball issues and some slugging to those righties. And the Angels lineup, like I said, it's pretty bad, but they do have a couple guys that rake off lefties, most notably here, Phil Gosselin, Max Stassi. That's probably the two guys I'd be looking to target, honestly. It's in Seattle. It's not the best hitting environment. I'm really not getting all too excited to target it overall. Spencer Howard expected to be the opener taking on Cleveland. We can kind of just play the guys that I already discussed. Eli Morgan taking on Texas. He's been terrible all season long, but I would honestly consider maybe pitching him because Texas lineup is terrible. He does give him a 47 slugging to righties, a 500 slugging to lefties. Really not good. You could certainly make a case for this Texas stack for that reason. Willie Calhoun, Isaiah Kinder-Fafella, Adolis Garcia, Nate Lowe, Andy Ibanez, Jose Trevino, Leotis Tavares. I mean, it's really not the prettiest lineup in the world. They only have a 4.3 implied total, but if you want to go there, I wouldn't call you too crazy. Jose Suarez taking on Seattle. He's been really good on the season so far. Ironically, his biggest struggle has been against lefties, so a little bit of lefty-on-lefty crime here in Seattle could be occurring tonight, and I'd definitely be having some interest in some J.P. Crawford. Kyle Seager traditionally hits very well off lefties, so I think he's a very sneaky play at the third base position that could pay off for you big in tournaments like him. Connor Green expected to maybe open against the Toronto Blue Jays that I had mentioned. I have a bunch of interest in. He's really not good. I can definitely be targeting him. I'm not interested in targeting John Gray. Honestly, that's when offense starts to fade out a little bit. Tyler Magel has been struggling against lefties all season long, so the Atlanta Braves lefties are certainly in play. He gives up a 6.37 slugging to lefties with a 4.32 WOBA. He's absolutely terrible. A 54.3% fly ball rate. He's been solid against righties, but against lefties, it really stands out that he just is terrible. So the Braves lefties and Freddie Freeman is going to be tremendous play. Ozzie Albies a tremendous play. Eddie Rosario at the bottom of the order, but I mean mainly free money Freddie, as I like to call him, going to be great play from the left-handed side of the plate. Dakota Hudson, Adbert Alzolay is another guy that we can target with left-handed power. St. Louis really doesn't have a lot of lefties, but the lefties that they do deploy, you can definitely be having some interest in here in this game because he's pretty much just as bad against lefties. So Tommy Edman and Dylan Carlson going to be tremendous plays for you tonight. And that's just about it, guys. I'm not getting all too interested to target these guys down here. I said you could maybe target Eduardo Rodriguez. He gets some hard contact, but like I said, I'm not getting too excited. And that's pretty much my overall breakdown of who I'd be going to tonight. And with that being said, before I let you guys go, I got to give you my home run call of the day. Let's get into it. And my home run call of the day today is going to be George Springer taking on Tom Eshelman in this terrible Baltimore Orioles pitching staff in desperate need of a win here in the #1 spot in this Blue Jays lineup. I'm sure he's going to get a ton of ownership for the slate, but guess what? I don't care. I think he's going to become in 2-owned, and I think if you fade him, you're making a massive mistake here because I think he has multiple home run upside at the top of this Toronto Blue Jays lineup, and he decided to have a big game tonight. Looking at what Tom Eshelman goes to, really reliant on the sinker-slider combination, nothing overpowering whatsoever, coming in with an 85-mile-an-hour fastball. That's not going to get the job done, and Springer features a 241 ISO with a 381 WOBA against that pitch. And then as far as when he breaks out the slider, not an issue either, because George Springer has a 230 ISO with a 380 WOBA in this spot. Gets to take on the terrible Baltimore Orioles bullpen if they're able to get Eshelman out of the game early. Love this spot from George Springer. I think he has some massive upside in this spot. Get him in your lineups because he is my home run call of the day. So there you have it, guys. George Springer, get him in your lineups. And that is all from me in this one. If you do enjoy the content, if you can please take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. That would be greatly appreciated. Wish you guys all the best of luck tonight, and we will see you in the next one.